Today, guys, we're talking about the top 5 things not to do to your Subaru vehicle. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. So starting off our list at number 1, the worst thing you could do for your Subaru vehicle is not changing the oil regularly and not checking the oil. Now that is bad to do in any internal combustion engine, not just Subaru, but it's especially bad to do with a Subaru. And there's many reasons why. Let's go ahead and dive into that. So number 1, changing your oil regularly helps to prolong the life of your engine. Everyone pretty much knows that. But why does it do that? Why is it so important to change your oil regularly? Well, without changing your oil, you're going to go through lots and lots of heat cycles on that engine oil. It's going to break down the good additives and protection of that oil. You're going to lose that lubricity. You're going to lose that protection inside your engine, protecting all of that metal-to-metal contact and preventing your engine parts from wearing against one another. You're also going to build up more and more carbon deposits in your oil. It's going to get dirtier and dirtier because there's only so much that oil filter can do to clean that oil between the oil change to get a complete new batch of oil into the engine. So once your filter gets clogged up and it can't filter anymore, it'll just open the pressure safety valve and go into bypass mode, and it will just keep funneling that dirty oil back through the filter, back out unfiltered, and back into the engine to continue to build up more and more and more. You're going to get sludge, you're going to get deposits all in your engine, and with the newer F-Series engines, that has become a big issue with variable valve timing and all kinds of codes associated with all that sludge building up on all of those components, clogging up those pores, clogging up those orifices, and making it wreak havoc basically on your timing and variable valve timing. It's not good to have all that stuff building up in there. That's why you need to change the oil regularly to keep it from getting that way, keep it from sludging up your engine, and keep it from, tearing everything up. The other thing is you need to check that oil regularly, especially on newer Subarus. We know we had issues a while back with oil consumption. Oil consumption still pops up every once in a while. They're using much thinner weight oil, 020, and I've heard 0W16 might be coming out right now in some Subaru models. So we're getting thinner and thinner oil to help with fuel economy, but at the same time, that oil is so thin, it's easier and easier for it to slip past the oil control rings and be burned in the combustion cycle, leading to more oil consumption. And as you burn that oil, as you consume that oil, you have less and less reserve of oil in your engine to protect everything that needs protection from that oil. So you need to regularly check your oil so you don't run low on oil and destroy your engine. And you need to constantly replace that oil and filter regularly to prevent all the buildup and crap inside the engine from wrecking it as well. So number 1 on the list, always change the oil, always check the oil at the recommended service interval. Number 2 on the list is not servicing your CVT in your Subaru vehicle. Now, I know for a long time, a lot of people were misinformed that Subaru CVTs were a sealed unit and maintenance-free, mainly because Subaru of America told you all that. And that was just kind of a scheme to show a lower cost of ownership and a lower maintenance cost while having the vehicle. But we know that is absolutely not true, that there's no such thing as a sealed unit for a transmission. There's no such thing as lifetime fluid in a transmission, engine, differential, etc. It's manufacturers trying to skew numbers and show less maintenance and a lower cost of ownership. You have to change that fluid. It is the lifeblood of the CVT, and not changing it will definitely cause an early demise to your CVT. So there is a little bit of varying opinion on when you should service it or what your service interval should be and whether it should be a drain and refill or a full flush. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is servicing that fluid, replacing that fluid, replenishing that fluid, because again, like all automotive fluids that go through heat cycles, additives break down, contamination builds up, things do not last forever, especially fluids. And CVT fluid is not exempt from the rule of heat, wear, and breakdown. So always service the CVT in your Subaru. I recommend personally 3-year, 36,000 miles or thereabout. A lot of people say 50,000 miles, some say 100,000 miles. Whatever you do, just make sure you service it, make sure you change it, and make sure you replenish it because, again, it is the lifeblood of the CVT in your Subaru, and by servicing it, you're going to ensure a longer service life. Now on to number 3, which is using cheap aftermarket parts. You never want to use cheap aftermarket parts on your Subaru. Don't go buying those no-name brand parts on Amazon or on eBay or Rock Auto or wherever you get parts. Even the part stores are not exempt from this, the Advanced AutoZone or Rallies of the world, because as a whole, over the last 5 years or so, aftermarket parts quality has gone down the drain even more so than it was to start with. I only recommend Subaru genuine parts, and you really, if you want your Subaru to last, you should only be using Subaru genuine parts on your car. Now, I know a lot of times that a genuine part is more expensive than an aftermarket part, but you always get what you pay for. That part was engineered, designed, and manufactured to the exact tolerances for your vehicle, whereas the aftermarket part is just kind of close, it's good enough, and good enough doesn't count and doesn't cut it when you're talking about a $30,000, $40,000 vehicle that you could be buying now. You don't want to throw cheap parts at it. It's going to cause you issues. It's going to cause you trouble. Don't buy cheap aftermarket parts. And as always, if you want to get the best prices on Subaru genuine parts, check out SubaruPartsDeals.com, where I get all of my parts. Don't forget to use promo code Mr. Subaru at checkout for savings on your shipping and handling of Subaru genuine parts. On to number 4, and that is do not overload or overstress your Subaru vehicle. Now, I know as of late, Subaru has been pushing that, like the Ascent and the Outback, are more and more capable of towing more and more weight and doing more than they ever have before, making them more like a small truck or SUV rather than the crossover they really truly are. Now, one huge thing to consider is the health of your CVT in all of this, as well as your suspension, engine, drivetrain, etc., by putting way too much weight in the car, putting too much weight on top of the car, or trailering too much weight behind it. I know Subarus are meant for adventure, they're meant for the outdoors. People love to go off-roading in their Subarus. They love to go camping and pull campers, or go pull boats, or jet skis, or all kinds of things. They put bike racks on the back, on the top, kayaks, rooftop tents, you name it, they're gonna do it with their Subaru. But you gotta be careful that you don't overload the car, because adding too much weight that's not safe will accelerate wear on your suspension, your brakes, your driveline, potentially damage your transmission, cause overheating issues, cause braking performance issues, and just can be unsafe all the way around. So always be sure to check the manufacturer's recommendations in the owner's manual for weights as far as cargo on the roof, inside the car, and trailering, because overloading your Subaru is a good way to tear something up, and it's gonna be expensive when you do. So guys, rounding out the video at number 5, it's not replacing your coolant or using the wrong coolant in your Subaru vehicle. Now, as we talked about at the beginning of the video with number 1, fluids are the lifeblood of your car. It doesn't matter if it's engine coolant, if it's engine oil, or CVT fluid. All of these fluids are vital to the overall health and longevity of your vehicle. Now, the problem with blue Subaru supercoolant, the modern coolant in Subarus for the last 20 years or so, is that it has become so big of a maintenance interval that people will neglect it and just forget about servicing their cooling system anymore. They just put it back on the back burner and totally forget about it. Subaru Blue Supercoolant is great. It's been a great addition to Subaru vehicles, but like all the long life coolants, people forget about it and neglect to do the servicing that they should. Now, as Subaru says, it's a 10-year, 100,000 mile service interval. I would say 8 years, 80,000 miles, but we're going to go back to the whole GM Dex cool fiasco back in the 90s when long life coolants were first introduced mainstream and it was a disaster. So big with Subaru is that don't neglect the cooling system. Don't let it fall to the wayside. Like other fluids, there's all kinds of heat cycles that work here. There's additives inside these fluids that break down. Your coolant is no different from your engine oil or any other fluid. With time, age, and heat cycles, it breaks down. The additives stop working as well, and it needs to be replaced and replenished. So there are rust inhibitors in there. There's also additives that keep it from freezing. As that coolant ages, it's no longer able to protect your car down to temperatures as low as it did before. Also, those rust inhibitors start breaking down and it becomes more acidic and more corrosive. Now, most everything in the cooling system on a modern Subaru is aluminum, but those head gaskets are not. They're still made of steel. So as we go on, if you neglect that cooling system, you can start getting damage from that coolant sitting in there, going through everything. It can start causing issues. You can have head gasket issues. You can have issues with thermostats hanging open or hanging closed. You can rot out your heater core and dump coolant inside the car. There's all kinds of issues associated with neglecting the cooling system and neglecting to do proper routine maintenance on the cooling system. So guys, there is the top 5 things not to do to your Subaru vehicle. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section below. Do you agree with my list? Would you have added anything, taken anything off? What do you think? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future Subaru and tool content in the future. I'll see you guys in the next one.